Yo, what's up guys? It's Noah here, and in today's video, I'm going to be talking about some player props I like on Prizepicks for the NBA slate on Monday, December the 26th. It's the day after Christmas. I hope you guys all had a good Christmas, enjoyed the holidays. Did want to come on here, give you guys some plays I do like for this Monday slate. I think we have 7 games tonight, so it's a decent sized slate for a Monday. But I got 2 props I like for today. We're going to talk through these 2 props like we always do, guys. But before we do get started with the video, as always, if you enjoy these Prizepicks videos, if they help you out, please hit that like button down below. Hit that subscribe button if you have not yet. And if you guys are new to the channel, make sure to check out Prizepicks. Sign up with my promo code Noah. If you do look at the bottom of the screen, Prizepicks, they will match your first deposit up to $100 when you do sign up with my promo code. And I do want to say something real quickly before we talk through our plays for today. So the 2 props I do like for today are both fantasy score props. And I did get a comment on one of my recent videos about me giving out fantasy score props and those not being helpful to some people because some people don't play on Prizepicks. I want to clear something up real quick. So for me, where I live, I'm not allowed to sports bet. I can't bet on DraftKings Sportsbook. I can't bet on FanDuel Sportsbook, any of those other sites. I have to play daily fantasy. So Prizepicks, DraftKings Daily Fantasy, FanDuel's Daily Fantasy, site, Yahoo's Daily Fantasy site. I'm allowed to play on those sites. I cannot do sports betting. That's one of the reasons that I do Prizepicks content and I do daily fantasy content. I don't give out money line bets. I don't give out sports book props and stuff like that because I can't bet those myself. And I've had people in my comments recently say I give out too many fantasy score props and those fantasy score props aren't helpful to some people. That's the reason. I mean, I would obviously I wouldn't give out fantasy score props and Prizepicks plays if I could bet other sites, but I'm only allowed to do technically fantasy stuff where I live, and Prizepicks is a fantasy game. It's not like a sports betting app. That's the reason it's legal where I live. So I did want to get that cleared up. I'm going to continue to give out fantasy score props. I've been playing daily fantasy since I turned 18 and I could legally play, and I've been very familiar with the fantasy score system, the fantasy score points per minute, being able to kind of project fantasy score myself. So that's why I do fantasy score props and Prizepicks videos specifically. If you're someone that bets on a sports book and you watch my videos and you want my videos to help you, you can take the fantasy score props and maybe convert them to PRA or something or points, and if I give out a fantasy score prop and you want to go bet the points or something, you could, I guess. That's up to you. But I'm going to continue to give out fantasy score props, Prizepicks plays in general, just because that is something I can do where I legally live. I can't bet on a sports book legally where I do live. So wanted to get that cleared up. Also, I'm a sponsor for Prizepicks, so I do get paid to promote their product and stuff like that. But I did want to get that cleared up, before I started talking through our plays for today. But we got 2 picks for this video, guys. So let's go and talk through them. 2 fantasy score props I do like. Got 2 lines that I think are a little bit too low for today. And the first guy that I do like is going to be Kevin Durant. His fantasy score line on Prizepicks is set at 42.5. And I think this is a little bit too low. I do like the over here, even in kind of a tougher matchup against the Cavs. So the Cavs this season, obviously, they're one of the stronger defensive teams in the league. I think they're they have the best or second best defensive rating in the NBA. So they're a good defensive team, no doubt. But this line already factors that in. I mean, most games, we would see Kevin Durant projected for 45.5, 46.5 fantasy points. And when it's a really good matchup, you can maybe boost that line up even higher. When it's a really bad matchup, you could boost it down a little bit. Obviously, this is a tougher matchup, so that's why we're seeing such a low line on Kevin Durant. But this is a line that he has gone over in almost all of his games this season. So for the season, Kevin Durant has played 32 games, excuse me. He's gone over this line in 26 out of 32 games this year. So he's obviously hit this line a lot this season. He's averaging over 49 fantasy points per game this year. And per minute, we know Kevin Durant is going to be a productive player when he's on the floor. He's averaging 1.36 fantasy points per minute. So typically, Kevin Durant plays 35, 36 minutes in competitive games. He's been averaging just over 36 minutes per game this season. And I did pull up a stat muse. So this season, when Kevin Durant has played 36 plus minutes, there's been 21 games where he's played 36 minutes or more. He's gone over this fantasy score line in 18 out of those 21 games. There's only been 3 games where he did not get 42.5 fantasy points when he played 36 minutes. And it was against Toronto twice. So he put up 42.3 against Toronto in 38 minutes. Really tough matchup. He put up 35.3 in 37 minutes against Toronto. Again, another tough matchup. And then against the Sixers, he had 36.5 fantasy points in 37 minutes. Every other game this season where he's played 36 minutes or more, there's been 18 total games or 21 total games. 18 out of those 21, he's had at least 42.5 fantasy points. So even factoring in kind of the tougher matchup against Cleveland, I still think this line is just way too low for Kevin Durant. He's going to be productive when he's on the floor. He's going to average like 1.3, 1.4 fantasy points per minute. Maybe his per minute production won't be as good in this matchup, but I still think 42.5 fantasy points is a line that he can definitely go over when he plays, normal minutes. And this game should be competitive. It's got a 2.5 point spread, so we should see Kevin Durant play 36 plus minutes tonight. This line just feels too low to me. I like the over here, even in a tougher matchup. And for what it's worth, he has faced the Cavs 5 times since he got moved to Brooklyn. Over his last 5 games against Cleveland, 77.4, 50.1, 31.3, so he went under that game, but then 54.7 and 53.5. So 4 out of his last 5 games against Cleveland, he's gone over this fantasy score. I like this one quite a bit. I think this line could definitely be a little bit higher. I think him and Kyrie should normally be projected like 6 points apart. I think this 3-point gap between Kyrie and KD is just too low. I feel like KD's projection should be like 44.5 today, 45.5. I mean, 42.5 just feels way too low in my opinion. So I do like that over as our first play for today. And then the second play that I like to pair with that is going to be on the other side of that game. Jared Allen's fantasy score line is set at 30.5, and I think this line's a little bit too low. I like this over as well. And another reason, fantasy score, if you're not familiar with the fantasy score, system, you can click scoring chart right here, and it'll literally bring it up, and it'll show you like how the points are calculated. It's very simple. Every point you get is a point. For rebounds, you get 1.2 points per rebound. For every assist, you get 1.5 points. Steals and blocks are huge. They're worth 3 points each. So if you can find guys that can get steals and blocks, usually those are good to target for fantasy score. Guys like Kevin Durant can get steals and blocks. Jared Allen can get steals and blocks. And then you do lose 1 point per turnover. But that for those that were unfamiliar with the fantasy score, that is how the scoring system is calculated. But Jared Allen this season, 30.5 fantasy points. This is a line that he has gone over in a good amount of his games this season. So Jared Allen's played 27 games this year. He's gone over this line in 17 out of 27 games. And Jared Allen usually plays about 33, 34 minutes per game. This season, he's averaging 33 minutes per game. I did want to pull up his game log and show you guys. So he's played 18 games this season where he's played at least 32 minutes. Again, he averages about 33 minutes per game, but I went ahead and just said, let's take a look at his games where he plays 32 plus minutes. And there's been 18 games this season where Jared Allen has played 32 plus minutes. He's gone over this line in 13 out of 18 games. So a very large majority of the time when Jared Allen plays his normal minutes, he's going to go over this fantasy score. Usually when he goes under, it's either because of a blowout or maybe he gets limited by foul trouble. This is a game that should be close, so I don't think we have to worry too much about blowout here. Foul trouble is one of those things you just can't really predict, and I think most of the time Jared Allen's usually able to avoid foul trouble. And I think it's a pretty good matchup against Brooklyn. Like, Brooklyn has historically been a team you can beat kind of down low. They've never been like the strongest defensive team against bigs. Now, so far this season, when it comes to like fantasy points allowed to the centers, they've been solid in terms of like limiting fantasy points to centers. But Jared Allen has definitely had success against the Nets in the past. It is a revenge game for him for what it's worth. But his last 2 games against Brooklyn, 34 fantasy points in 33 minutes, 41 fantasy points in 37 minutes, and then he did have 42.2 fantasy points in 31 minutes. There was also one game where he only played 19 minutes against Brooklyn, so obviously he went under that game. He had 24.2 fantasy points in 19 minutes. And then there was a game where he played 30 minutes and had 28.2 fantasy points, came up just short. Again, when Jared Allen plays his normal minutes, 32, 33, 34 minutes, he typically is going to go over this line. And I think in a competitive game here, we should see Jared Allen play mid to high 30s minutes. 30.5 fantasy score. Definitely like this line. Jared Allen's one of these guys that can rack up a lot of steals and blocks, specifically blocks. He's a really good shot blocker, and we can see him have games where he gets 2-3 blocks, 2-3 steals. Those are huge because they're worth 3 points each. So even if Jared Allen only gets like, let's say 9 points and 8 rebounds or something like that, he could still get 2 blocks, 2 steals, and go over this fantasy score. So that's another reason I like fantasy score. I like targeting these guys that can get steals and blocks. Jared Allen is one of those guys. Kevin Durant can have games where he gets a lot of steals and blocks too. But these are 2 picks that I like for this Monday slate, guys. Just want to give you guys some quick picks for today. What I like, kind of taking a first look at the board right now when I'm making this video. I will be posting more plays for today though over on Patreon. So as always, if you guys do enjoy these Prizepicks videos and you want more Prizepicks plays from me, you can check out the Patreon. It's linked down below in the description. Every play that I do provide over there, I will give a full write-up for. Usually, depending on the slate, I'll give like 2, 3, 4 additional plays, sometimes more if it's a really, really big slate. for today, I would think it's going to be pretty easy to find at least, a couple more plays I like. So if you want to check out the Patreon, link down below in the description. You can check that out if you are interested. But I do wish you guys the best of luck today. Hope you guys can all make some money. Again, if you enjoy these prize videos, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. And if you have not yet, sign up for Prizepicks. Use my promo code NOAH. They will match your first deposit up to $100 when you do sign up with my promo code. But good luck today, guys. Thanks for watching the video, supporting the content. As always, appreciate you guys a ton. We will see you in the next one. Peace.